Welcome to Mount Rainier National Park. This presentation will introduce you to some of the wonderful historic structures and landscapes at the park. My name is Jared Infanger. I am the historical architect here and will be your guide as we look at and learn about the wealth of cultural resources that contribute to making Mount Rainier such a special place. In addition to its spectacular alpine meadows, rugged volcanic landscape, and broad wilderness expanses, Mount Rainier is also significant for its cultural resources. Nominated to the National Register of Historic Places in 1997, the Mount Rainier National Historic Landmark District, or NHLD, comprises approximately 3% of the park. The park is significant as the most intact example of early Park Service master planning and naturalistic landscape architecture. The master plan for Mount Rainier was the first and most complete national park master plan to be developed and implemented by the National Park Service. The NHLD consists of 6 historic districts, 158 contributing resources, such as buildings, structures, and objects, and the road corridor and Wonderland Trail networks. Within the NHLD, there are 5 individually listed National Historic Landmark buildings. They were nominated to the National Register in 1987. They are from starting in the upper left, proceeding clockwise, the Longmire Administration Building, the Longmire Service Station, the Longmire Community Building, the Paradise Inn and Annex, and the Sunrise Stockade Group, which includes the blockhouses, the Visitor Center, and the large stockade fence and maintenance area behind the Visitor Center. This photo is of the Paradise Inn before 1920. The Paradise Inn was built in 1917, with the annex added in 1920. The inn is significant as an example of rustic-style architecture or parkitecture, which uses local materials to help blend the building with its landscape. The interior of the Paradise Inn's lobby space emphasizes the sense of a grand alpine lodge built of local materials. The gray color of the interior log posts and beams are contributing features to the building's historic significance. The Paradise Inn was built using trees harvested within the park from a forest fire location known as the Silver Forest. The cedar trees were left standing after the fire and weathered to the silver-gray patina we experience today in the inn's lobby. Great attention to detail and use of local materials was not limited to grand hotels and community buildings. Even a utilitarian building, like a comfort station or bathroom, were built with great care and craftsmanship. This building is located at Tahoma Vista on West Side Road and is currently not in use. The park continues to maintain and preserve this building, which contributes to the NHLD. Mount Rainier has 4 historic fire lookouts. Built in the 1930s, these lookouts are no longer used for fire watch, but serve as the repeater towers for the park radio system and are a popular destination for visitors. The 4 lookouts are located at Tolmie Peak, Gobbler's Knob, Shriners Peak, and Mount Fremont. Where would Mount Rainier be without its history of climbing and humans' desire to reach its summit? With that history comes a history of buildings and facilities. This is the public shelter located at Camp Muir. Camp Muir is one of the 6 historic districts within the NHLD. The public shelter, seen here, was constructed and dedicated to John Muir in 1921 and remains there today. A view of the public shelter today. Aspirational climbers still use the public shelter as a resting point on their pursuit for the summit. The park has 9 historic backcountry patrol cabins and 2 historic trail shelters that also contribute to the NHLD. The patrol cabins were built beginning in the 1920s. Indian Henry's patrol cabin is the oldest cabin in the park. Rangers still use the cabin as residences and their base of operation for backcountry patrols and resource protection. This photo is of the Sunset Parks or Golden Lakes patrol cabin. The Longmire Historic District features the most dense concentration of historic structures in the park. This image is of the Longmire Gift Shop, located west of the National Park Inn. The gift shop has served many different functions during its existence, including clubhouse, dormitory, office space, and gift shop. This photo shows the building during its time as a clubhouse. It does not appear much different than it does today. Longmire was designed with three distinct areas. Those areas are defined as the plaza, the village, and the maintenance areas. The plaza is the public area where visitors experience the National Park Inn, administrative building, and the Longmire Museum. The village is the residential area where park staff have lived, either year-round or seasonally, for over 80 years. This image is of one of the Longmire cottages built in the 1920s and may even be your residence this season. The maintenance area features a utilitarian design with wide roads, right angles, and functional rectangular buildings. Historic buildings are not the only elements that help give Mount Rainier that sense of arriving someplace special. The NHLD includes historic structures, which are items such as the historic entrance arch at Nisqually, stone guard walls, bridges, and other landscape features. The buildings, structures, and landscape features help make the cultural landscapes that we experience and identify with as part of the park. Naturalistic landscape architecture uses local materials to create landscapes that blend with their environment. In Longmire, rubble from the riverbed is used to line roadways and paths. Buildings do not compete with the landscape, but seek harmony with it. Much of the park's infrastructure was enhanced or maintained during the 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC. Many CCC crew members built and maintained the landscape in Longmire as seen in these photos. The manicured lawns and stone-lined pathways are all components of the cultural landscape. CCC crews spread out into the park and performed trail maintenance and constructed some of the historic wood bridges visitors continue to experience this day along the Wonderland and other trails. The Mount Rainier experience was carefully designed and planned to enhance the visitor's experience. Pullouts, waterfalls, bridges, and even stone guard walls were all laid out to maximize views and vistas of natural features. Careful attention to detail and a high level of craftsmanship were required to make these features blend or even disappear in the landscape. These photos show how Christine Falls was cleaned up and modified to create an idyllic experience for visitors. In the 1930s, Herbert Good traveled around the country documenting architecture and design in national and state parks. During his travels, he identified different stone guard walls found across the nation. Mount Rainier features one of these unique designs with guard wall type 5, located right center of the image. This guard wall can be seen today at Sunrise Point on the Yakima Park Highway or Road to Sunrise on the east side of the park. This photo shows Sunrise Point shortly after it was completed in October 1930. Notice the distinct guard wall feature with the raised crenellations shaped to mimic the mountain. Narada Falls is another area where infrastructure was added to create a vista for visitor enjoyment. A CCC camp was located at Narada Falls, and the CCC crew helped build the comfort station and stone walls visitors continue to enjoy to this day. Preservation of these structures continues today and comprises the bulk of park work completed by carpenters, masons, and facilities crew members. In 2012, the park completed the rehabilitation of the Chinook Arch, located on the park's eastern boundary and along Highway 410. The Pacific Crest Trail travels across the top of the arch. Historic preservation work seeks to preserve and maintain as much of the original fabric as possible. In instances when the fabric can no longer be used, efforts are made to replace the component in kind with the same material and using traditional techniques. This image shows the original arch log and the replacement log being hand carved. Preservation work involves assessment of historic resources like this bridge and determining the best methods to protect, repair, and preserve the resources. This work demonstrates a commitment to maintaining structures that are irreplaceable. Maintaining the character of the landscape is also a part of this work. When loose rocks threatened the roadway below the tunnel on Highway 123, the park historical landscape architect and engineer worked closely with federal highways to develop a plan to stabilize and secure loose rocks. Tieback bolts used to hold the stones in place were carefully mortared with grout that matched the rock so they would not be visible and would preserve the sense of a natural landscape that has been lightly touched by human hands. If you are interested in learning more, please consider visiting these resources to access reports, photos, and other information about the park. The Integrated Resource Management Application, or IRMA, is a database where you can find reports about anything ranging from natural resources to cultural resources. ETIC is the repository for architectural reports, drawings, plans, and other records associated with park development. You can access it at the link listed at the top of this slide, pubs.etic.nps.gov. Mount Rainier has an abundance of cultural resources, both historic and prehistoric. This training only briefly touched on a few of the special features the park has to offer. I encourage you to take the time to engage with the historic structures in the park and encourage visitors to do the same. Have a great season and thank you for your work to preserve our nation's resources.